name's Richard Baldwin. I'm a carpet cleaning company owner. I've been doing this for over 15 years, and I wanted to make some videos to help some people who want to get into the industry and want to start their own business as a carpet cleaner. So what I've done is I've set up this nice Bluetooth camera system. You're going to see me wearing this getup that I put together just so that we can get good audio. And I'm going to be going through a series of videos to try and show you some hints and tips on how to be successful. Most people that start a carpet upholstery cleaning business tend to not make it because of a lot of things they don't know. So maybe this can help. So what I've done is I've made a list here, and I'm going to go through some things, and hopefully you can pick up some tips. So, first thing is, I know a lot of you out there are going to be armchair critics and sit back there, I would do it that way, You can do that if you want. You can take the advice for what it's worth. If you don't agree, that's fine. You can put your message in the comments. You can tell me I wouldn't do it that way in the comments all you want. It's open for discussion. Not everybody's way is perfect. All I know is that I've been running this business for well over 10 years of my own. It's successful, it's lucrative, and so I must have done something right. So I'm hoping I can pass that on to you. I'm just going to take it right from the beginning. If you're starting right from scratch, you're just a young guy, you're looking for a job, you need an income, and you thought maybe you'll get into this carpet cleaning thing. Well, let's take it from there. The very first thing you have to ask yourself is this really for you? Or are you going to get all kinds of money invested, and then down the road you're going to be like, oh, this isn't for me, and now you're stuck with all this equipment, and you've wasted a lot of time, you've wasted a lot of money, and, let's try to avoid that. So first thing you got to ask yourself is, do I have any experience doing this? Do I know what I'm doing? Do I know one end of the wand from the other? Well, if you don't, maybe you should think about getting that first before trying to start a business doing it. You can't just invest all kinds of money and then go out there and into people's homes and mess everything up. You're just going to be in for a world of hurt. So get some experience is the first thing. Now, what's the best way to get some experience? You may pick up some bad habits, but I still think that the best way to start is by working for some other companies. It's not too hard to get a job as a carpet cleaner working for another company. You may not like it. They'll probably overwork you and they will underpay you, but you will learn something along the way, and it's a great way to get your feet wet and get started. When I first started, I worked for 3 years for one company. They pretty much worked me to death, 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes. They'd work me late at night and then want me to come in early in the morning. And then I went to another place after 3 years, and they were a little better, but they were still very demanding. I would get calls. I could be on a campsite in the middle of vacation, and they'd call me and say, pack everything up, come running down now because I need help moving a couch out of a basement. It was ridiculous. So that's why I eventually ended up working for myself, so I could get out of that trap. But I did learn things along the way. Worked for a total of maybe about 4 to 5 years, and you at least learn what you're doing. You learn the equipment. You learn a lot of techniques, and then when you strike off on your own, then you can kind of take all that information and assess it, and then you can make your own judgments on what the right way or the wrong way is. So experience is very important. Once you've got a few years working for other people under your belt, then it's time to think about if this is for you and what you want to do. It's time to think about striking off on your own. the other thing you got to think about before you even start into this is, do I have the physical ability to do this job? Um, no, you're not lifting bricks all day long, but I can tell you one thing, that it does take a lot of physical stamina to do this job. Think of it like being a fireman. You know, you're running machinery, you're running around, you're going up and down stairs, you're carrying hoses, you're moving heavy equipment. You're doing a lot of heavy stuff, and as you do this hard physical activity all day long, sure, it's okay. Anyone can do that for a day or two, but when you do it for 5, 6 days a week, week after week after week, it does start to wear you down, and it does start to burn you out. So I would say make sure that you have the physical ability. You don't have back problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, knee problems, whatever. If you suffer from those kind of issues, this may not be the right career for you. With that said, once you do start working, you have to learn how to pace yourself. You know, I know you're a young guy and you're excited and you're just getting into it. You want to go, and you want to get as much done as you can, because you know the more you do, the more money you're going to make. But trust me, if you burn yourself out, you're not going to get anything done in the long run. It's just going to be a short blast, and then it's going to be over. So I strongly suggest you pace yourself. We'll get more into that as we do future videos and we go out on site. We start doing some jobs on the road, and then you'll sort of get a better idea how that all works, without, you know, how you can make good money and not kill yourself. With that said, you want to start your own business, you have to be self-motivated. You can't just be the kind of guy who just stands there and waits for someone else to tell them what to do. You can't be the kind of guy who, if there's a problem, you're just going to get on the phone and call someone else to try and figure out what you're supposed to do. You have to learn how to solve problems. You have to learn how to motivate yourself. You have to remember that even though you're working for yourself now, this is still your full-time job. You are still responsible. You still have a boss. Your boss now is your customers. If you let down your customer, you are instantly fired, and then you have to go get another customer or another employer, so to speak. So you have to set your alarm. You have to get up on time. You can't just say, well, I don't feel like it today. I think I'll go sit in the backyard and have a couple beers or take off with my buddies for the weekend. You can't do that. You are still a employed person, and you have to get that in your head, because if you just roll along playing by your own rules, it's going to fall apart. I guarantee it. Another thing, when you're first starting your business, don't believe all these guys on the internet and these people that make movies and in the forums and whatnot telling you that they're making all kinds of money in their first year and that the money's rolling in. Don't sit down with a pencil and paper and say, well, even if I do like $150 a day just to get started, I'm going to have all kinds of money by the end of the month. Heck, I'll have all my credit cards paid off. I'll be rolling in it, because it doesn't work out that way. It really works out the opposite. You're going to find that out as you go along, that the more you make, the more it costs you to make that money. Think of it as a chart. You know, as your income goes up, so do your expenses go up with it. So your expenses don't stay down here while your income goes up. So keep in mind, you're not going to make huge amounts of money when you first start. You just don't have enough customers. You don't have the equipment. You don't have the experience to do it right. Don't even think about that. Think about getting rolling, but don't expect that this is going to support you and your family and pay your mortgage and your credit cards and all your bills right from the get-go. Okay? I don't care what anyone tells you. It's probably not going to happen. You have to put in the time, and you have to put in the work, and you have to wait until that slowly grows on its own. Think of it as you're planting a seed, okay? And your business is now an infant. It was just born. It's incapable of supporting you. You have to support it. It's your baby, right? You have to feed it and nurture it and grow it and teach it. You have to do all those things when your business is first born. And it might be several years till it turns around and all of a sudden now you're the baby and it can take care of you. Okay, but first you got to raise it. Law of nature. So as you get this started, have a backup income, have a backup plan, whether it's a second job, whether you have a spouse that is carrying a lot of the financial load while you get this going. You do have to dive into it with both feet. You can't just do a little bit here and do a little bit there and expect it to go somewhere. So make sure that you start small and have a backup income. Okay, make sure that something's going to carry you for at least the first couple of years until things get rolling. Okay. Speaking of that, I mentioned start small. Don't be tempted by these big ads out there. Suppliers like to put ads and show you like big pictures of big fancy shiny truck mount systems and big expensive equipment and brand new awesome stuff. This stuff costs a lot of money, and it takes a long time to make that money back. You don't need to do that right away. If you're just starting out and you're lucky to get 3 jobs a week, 4 jobs a week just to get going, you don't want to have a $3,000 wand. You don't want to have a $40,000 truck mount and a $50,000 truck to pay for with those 3 jobs a week. Remember, you have to support yourself as well. So I suggest you start a little smaller and save that big equipment and that big image for down the road when you have the customers and the business and the experience to support it. Start small. Think about getting a really, really good high-end portable system. I personally don't recommend going for old used equipment, buying some guy's rusty old truck with his rusty old burned out truck mount because it's cheaper, because down the road it's going to cost you more as you're constantly trying to fix it and you're constantly down. You're ripping your hair out trying to keep this thing running. It's really not worth it. You do want to start with better equipment, but we'll get into that later.